Why do some anime have such ridiculously long titles? I'm sure many of you have noticed this trend of anime titles seemingly getting longer and longer, and I'm sure you've been asking yourself, why? Maybe you're also wondering, just how crazy can these titles really get? Do you love your mom and her two-hit multi-target attacks? Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? No matter how I look at it, it's your guys' fault I'm not popular. I couldn't become a hero, so I reluctantly decided to get a job. And of course, the one that I'm holding here is titled, That Time I Got Reincarnated as Yamcha. The first anime that got my attention to these kind of ridiculously long titles was That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
楽しみに待っててくれ
And when I first saw that title, I thought maybe it was being ironic with its title length, because the first thing I thought was, wow, that's a really long title. This was coming from someone who was used to titles like Pokemon, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach. Notice trend here? The titles are quite short and usually just 1 or 2 words. But once That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime fell into my radar, I noticed more and more of these titles started popping up, and I was wanting to get to the bottom of why this seems to be a trend in Japan. So I set out on a journey to look around and find more and more of these long anime titles and share them all with you. But also, let's break down and find out exactly why this seems to be a trend happening within anime titles in general. Traditionally speaking, short titles were very common because obviously it's something easy to say and easy to remember. So for marketing reasons, it makes the most sense to want something quick and recognizable to build your brand. As I mentioned before, titles like One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto are all recognizable and very simple to remember. So as I dug deeper into more and more titles and finding just how deep this rabbit hole goes, I started finding titles like, I want you to make a disgusted face and show me your underwear.
やめてください土下座なんて
Let me try that one more time. I want you to make a disgusted face and show me your underwear.
この
Okay, the next one. My mental choices are completely interfering with my school romantic comedy. Maybe I should just turn this into like a top 10 ridiculous titles, but let's just keep going. If I don't successfully pick up 420 girls, I'm going to die in a lot of different ways. I can't get through this. Okay, so why exactly is this a trend within Japan, and why are these titles becoming longer and longer, but also just more and more specific, where the title essentially gives away seemingly everything about the anime series itself? Let's use the anime title Story in Which I Was Kidnapped by a Young Lady's School to be a sample of the common people. Yeah, that was also a title.
ツークールやるのだ
Now, that's oddly very specific and pretty much tells you exactly what you're getting yourself into. So let's go back to the first question, and that's why? Why are these titles seemingly getting longer and longer? Well, we need to find the origin of these anime titles, and a lot of anime is adopted from manga, but that's not the only source to anime titles. Anime titles can also be adopted from other forms of media, such as visual novels, which is where Steins Gate was adopted from. But another form that is quite popular are light novels. Light novels are quite popular in Japan, and they are exactly what you think they are. They are novels, but illustrated usually in a manga art style and usually targeted towards high schoolers or young adults. So now that we know what a light novel is, how does one compete with all of the other titles that are on the bookshelf? And how do you set yourself apart from all that competition? Well, if the trend was for everyone to have very short titles, then if you made a very long title, that would be one way to set you apart. Of course, until everyone else does it too. So then to compete from that point, what do? Well, you just simply make your titles even longer. I mean, you have some light novels with titles like Sew for Her, Strip for Her, Change Her Clothes, She Screwed Up, Her High School Debut, and Became a Shut-In. So I ended up coordinating her youth fashion. Yeah. That's a title to the novel.
そう思ってたんですよ。この前までは。
I feel so sorry for the graphic designer that had to find a way to put that on a damn cover. But I mean, I guess they managed to make it work. Also, you might be asking, well, maybe in Japanese it doesn't sound as bad and it's just a translation issue from Japanese to English. Sometimes that is the case. With kanji, you can typically fit the titles into a smaller amount of space along with hiragana. But in this case, nope, not at all. That title is still just as long and awkward. Now, with these incredibly long titles, you also get oddly specific and seem to know exactly what you're getting yourself into before you even open the book. And the reason for that is also because you have to grab the user's attention almost immediately. And again, because of competition, the person looking to buy a light novel knows that the titles are quite important. And so if yours stands out and you get the idea of the story from the title, then that might be enough to make you buy the book. This idea also kind of replaces the summary of the book that would usually be located in the back when you want to know more about that specific book. So I guess if you're lazy and just want to get the idea of the book, now you can just read the title and know if that grabs your attention or not to want to keep reading. My personal opinion, I think the long titles is a bit much, and though I do think for some titles it does make sense and it can be kind of charming, but of course it can absolutely lead to some hilarious titles as well. I mean, you've already seen me mention a couple of them through the video already, but in the end, call me old-fashioned, but I like a simple title that gets the point across. So what are some of your favorite long titles that you've heard in this video? I'd love to know your thoughts, so leave a comment below. My two favorite long titles that I mentioned are hands down the story in which I was kidnapped by a young lady's school to be a sample of the common people. Like, what? And of course, I have to mention this one again. I want you to make a disgusted face and show me your underwear.
そうですか。
So I hope this helped you in understanding the mystery as to why some anime titles have ridiculously long names. I know as I researched this further to make this video, I found an odd appreciation for the titles despite me generally liking the short ones. Because even though a title may be long, if it gains enough popularity, people just might make nicknames for the title. As an example, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, well, people just instead say slime to discuss that anime.
楽しみに待っててくれ!
I personally would say let's just go back to short titles, but what do you think? Do you care about the title length? Or as long as the content is good, then it really doesn't matter? Let me know. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more like it, then consider subscribing. Also, clicking that like button really helps out. And of course, if you want to stay up to date on all of my videos and be the first to know, hit the notification bell as well. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching.